Hello, this is Randall Root again, and this video is about the exercise 2-5, fifth exercise in the second chapter. In this exercise, guys, you're going to be building a report that looks kind of like picture or figure 2-68. That's the goal here. And the particular data is coming from the analysis server project that you just finished up in exercise 2-4. Now, of course, there's a problem with that. If 2-4 didn't go well for you, in other words, you couldn't, for some reason, get analysis server to receive the project data by deploying it and processing it, then, of course, you're kind of stuck on doing this report piece. That's really kind of a drag, but I would encourage you to just go ahead and continue reading through the exercise and kind of getting the idea. You can even click on the buttons and everything else. In a perfect world, everything is going to go just fine. But if it doesn't, just want to be, please be assured that you'll be able to continue on through the chapters of the book. I get into much more specific information about how to make analysis server work in later chapters. I just didn't think going into all the gory details was appropriate in that second chapter. Sorry about that if you're one of the casualties got caught in the difficulty of the fourth exercise. But so far, I've been trying it out on a lot of people out there, and most people get it to work. Anyway, so exercise 2-5. You're going to make a report, and you're going to use the reporting report wizard that comes with SQL Server Reporting Services. So to do that, you open up the Weather Tracker projects solution that we've been working with throughout this chapter, and you add a new project to it. So you just go through and say a new project, and when it comes up, you choose Reporting Server and Reporting Server Wizard. At that point, you'll give it a name, and it'll launch the wizard. In my little demo on the screen, you can see I've already got it done here because that's the final outcome of the chapter. You may have noticed that in the chapter files, the book files, I actually go ahead and give the completed solution in each chapter just so that you can take a look at what it's supposed to look like at the end. But anyway, once the wizard pops up, you hit the next button and you choose to connect to analysis server. Now, of course, you can pull data from this wizard from SQL Server and a variety of other places. But of course, analysis server is the one we're doing now. And you hit the edit button to make your connection. You type in the name of your computer. Like this one's Northwest Tech -01. Now, let me misspell this. I'm going to go ahead and use the drop-down box down here at the bottom. And it thinks about it for a bit. And then it comes back with a blank. Now, there's no real error message going on, which is kind of unfortunate because I know for a fact that that's not correct. So I'm going to actually type in the correct name, and now watch what happens. So it's kind of unfortunate it doesn't give you a nice, useful error message. But if that comes up as blank, you're not connected. You can hit the test connection button if you want at this point, but if that drop-down box worked, you're good to go. So just say OK. Hitting the next button will advance to the Query Builder option. Here you press the Query Builder button and you start dragging and dropping things over to make the report. Now, I'm going to want the events, the event dates, maximum temperature, and minimum temperature, it looks like, for this report. And of course, if you follow the exercises, you'll see that I tell you to add the project and select the connection, put in the name of your computer, and then in the section down here, step 11, I tell you that you want to expand measures and go through and grab the looks like maximum temperature and minimum temperature, drag and drop. Now, this drag and drop feature is pretty easy to do, but the interface can be a little I don't know, cumbersome perhaps for people just getting started. Once you get a little practice on it, you wonder how it ever really bothered you. But I see a lot of I teach a lot of students in my classes, and some students just find this cumbersome. So that's kind of normal. Just have faith. It's all going to work out. You're going to be able to use this in no time at all. Okay, so the next thing I was supposed to do is go ahead and look for the event icon. It looks like I should have said dim events, expand that, because the event icon is right here. And I drag and drop that in as well. Here's the events such as fog and rain and sun, rain and sun. You can tell living in Seattle, we have a lot of these, don't we? Anyway, now I'm supposed to go ahead and get the event date as well, and that's under here under dim dates. I'll grab that and drag it in as well. Now I have all the makings of my report. So I hit OK. You'll see that there's a bunch of ugly looking code here. We cover that in later chapters. It's a language called MDX. But what you do is just kind of hit the next button and advance it. We're choosing a tabular report. And we're going to go ahead and organize it like this. We're going to take the event field. That's the one that has like it rained or it was foggy or whatever. We're going to put that in the group section by hitting the group button. And these other columns, we're going to hit details, 1, 2, 3. They'll show up here. When you advance it to the next option, you'll see that there's a radio button here for stepped. It should actually be checked, so there should not be much to do. I do want to do one other thing, though. I do want to enable the drill down, so I'll check that little checkbox right there. And then pick a pretty color. You can tell it, what you're trying to deploy it to. No, it doesn't really matter. It's R2 or later. That qualifies. Anyway, you can hit this and it'll try to connect. Now, setting up reporting server and getting the server set up so that you can browse it off of this address also is something we talk about in later chapters. That can be a little daunting. However, the cool thing about SSRS reports is that you can actually browse them right from Visual Studio without having to get the web server or a web server involved. It's because they have a miniature little engine that will render the reports for you right from Visual Studio. So it makes it a whole lot easier to develop. Back in the early days, you actually had to load them to see them. But let's go ahead and hit the next button, just leave everything alone, and we should give it a name. Like I suggested in the, or told you to go ahead and name it weather events RDL file. And I would just type in weather events. I don't have to put the extension on there. In this case, I really don't care, so I'm just going to hit finish. The new report shows up, and then I can hit preview to see what it's going to look like. That little miniature rendering engine is built in, plugged into Visual Studio, and in a few seconds here, it should connect to my analysis server and render a report. And it did. Now, at this point, the report's pretty ugly, but I think this exercise will kind of give you the idea of how this technology works. And this is the last exercise of the chapter. So the deal is that at this point in time, you will have seen how to create a blank project or blank solution, add solution files, or excuse me, solution folders to the blank solution, add files to the solution and organize them in the solution folders, go through and add in a SSIS project, and actually add it in an existing project, a package, too many P's. Go through and add in a existing project, which was the cube one, and use the wizard to create a report project. And so at the end, let me get rid of this one I just made. At the end, what you have is the documentation, the documentation about what the project is going to entail. You have a script that, when ran, it will make the data warehouse. You have an ETL process that, when ran, it will go through and fill up the data warehouse. You have a cube that is based off the data warehouse, and you have a report that is based off the cube. Guys, that is pretty much what makes up a BI solution. So hopefully you found these exercises kind of helpful and enlightening to get a big picture overview of how a BI solution all goes together. In the upcoming chapters, of course, we're going to break it down into much more detailed information about each and every piece. So I'll see you later on in Chapter 3.